Barnstable this morning on this beautiful day. Just a gorgeous sunrise behind us in Katuitt. I'm Sarah Colvin here with Len Gobeil, and we are going to talk about the ballot questions. Lots of decisions for voters to make today.
And they're important decisions.
They are important decisions. And sometimes the language in these questions can be a little funky. And, you look at the title of the question and you say, I support that. But if you don't read it carefully enough, you need to make sure that you know what the yes vote means and what the no vote means, and that's what we're going to try to explain right now.
Let's talk about question one.
Question
yes
one
means no.
Question one is the gas tax.
The gas tax increase.
The gas tax increase, and it was the gas tax is tied to inflation right now.
That's correct. And question number one is, would eliminate the requirement the state's gasolines tax, which is 24 cents a gallon, be adjusted every year automatically.
That's right.
Okay? And so for those people who like to have their taxes increased on the gas, you got to vote no.
Right. Because if you vote no, then nothing will change. Then the gas tax will remain tied to inflation and will continue to rise at the same rate that inflation rises.
Now, the people who are in favor of not having, and again, this is all a double negative positive thing, the people who are in favor of not increasing the gas tax based on the inflation rate, you have to vote yes. And if you would like to have your gas taxes increased every year, you vote no. Now, having said that, it sounds like I may be in favor of no more taxes and no more tax increases. But I think we should explain to our viewers that it's a two-part situation here. And part one is the people who are looking at it one way are saying that the legislature should stand up and they should be counted and they should vote anytime that they want to have an increase. Mm-hmm. This law, if it's passed, would automatically let it happen, and your state legislators would not have to vote every year on an increase. And included in part of that is our bridges and our roads and a lot of other infrastructure in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts really need a lot of help.
Well, and that's what the gas tax goes to fund. Again, trying to keep this as simple as possible for our viewers. That's where ostensibly the money goes, is to fund repairs to infrastructure, to roads and bridges. And certainly in a historical state like Massachusetts, there's a lot of roads, a lot of bridges, a lot of things that needing repair. So
we're an old state. We've been around for a long time, and our bridges and our roads, in the opinion of a lot of people, really need a lot of repair. And this is one way to get it done.
Indeed. So again, just to wrap that conversation, the gas tax question one, if you vote yes, you will repeal the current law that's in place that ties the gas tax to the rate of inflation. If you vote no, nothing changes and that law will stay in place. The gas tax will continue to rise based on the rate of inflation.
Let's talk about question two.
The bottle bill.
And again, this is what a lot of people think is an additional unneeded tax. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people say, no, it really is needed. So those are the two sides of the argument. And as I understand it, if question two is passed, water bottles will now have a deposit on them, and things like Gatorade will also have a deposit. So you got to, when you go buy a bottle of water, you got to pay another nickel or whatever the cost is, which is what we always pay now for soda and
carbonated beverages. It's all the carbonated beverages, which is I always found that kind of interesting because you go and you buy, say, a bottle of Poland Spring or whatever at Cumbies, and if it's not carbonated, then you don't have to pay the 5 cents. But if it's the sparkling version, then you have the deposit that you have to pay.
This law will correct that in a sense.
If it's passed.
If it's passed, in that all bottles of water of non-carbonated vegetables, of all non-carbonated beverages will also be taxed. So water and things like water and Gatorade will then be taxed.
Right.
And that, again, is another way for the Commonwealth of Massachusetts to raise funds.
Right.
Because there are a lot of people who don't recycle.
Right.
And they take those bottles and they take that money and you pay an extra nickel and you say it's worth the extra nickel to buy a non-carbonated beverage, and you take the bottle and you throw it away in the garbage and it goes away forever. And other people say, well, now we're going to force people to recycle, and we're going to charge a nickel for these to recycle. And that's what this is
And you get it
basically
back.
about.
I mean, you get it back. You
If
know, when
you-
you take
if
that,
you
that big
recycle it.
bag of beer cans to the store and bring it back. However, recycling it, you know, that isn't as easy as it was back in the day. You know, you have to stand at the machine and put the cans or the bottles in, whatever. You know, lots of intricacies to this, and a lot of the people who are against it say, well, people have more access to recycling these days, and it's easier to recycle than it was in the 80s when the original bottle bill was passed. But again, the yes vote on this will add the 5-cent deposit to those non-carbonated beverages, not juice boxes or those little like
Right.
Capri Sun pouches or anything
Right.
like that.
The juice boxes and and you're right, the pouches.
But
Right.
it's plastic containers containing beverages.
Right.
And then no vote, nothing changes.
At one point in time, as you just mentioned, it was very easy to go into package stores and liquor stores, and they all had a recycling area there. And as you went in to buy your soda, your beer, whatever, your wine, you'd say, oh, I'll save all these bottles, and you go in and you deposit them there, and they give you the money right there.
Right, and there's a couple of high school kids behind there counting it. And
Exactly. And for some reason or other, and I never understood why, I'm not a very intelligent guy, I never understood why, that all went away.
It's kind of a gross job.
It was a gross job. It was. Okay, let's go to
Casinos.
question 3. I bet you that this gets defeated. That's my
I'm not
opinion.
going to make any speculations. I'm just here to talk about the yeses and the nos.
If you vote yes, you are allowing gaming to stop, gambling to stop in the casinos. We don't have any yet.
So let's back it up a little bit and give some background. In the early 2000s, the casino law was passed. Prior to 2011, casino gambling was not legal here in the state of Massachusetts. This law passed. Of course, we haven't seen any casinos or slots parlors built because there's all sorts of other things going on. But that was passed by the legislation. This is kind of saying, okay, we're going to give the voters a shot at this. So again, this is where a yes means no kind of a vote.
Correct. Yes means that there will be no gambling casinos in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts.
Right. Yes, I want to repeal the casino law.
Correct.
No, I don't want to repeal the casino law.
No, I do want to have casino gambling in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Now, again, there's a couple of ways to look at this, and one of the ways is people are saying that gambling is now down in Connecticut and Rhode Island, because that's what we have to talk about here. And casino gambling is down in Atlantic City. The people are not going to Atlantic City and spending that kind of money. And so the people who are in favor of repealing the casino law are saying, gambling's over. It's passé. Nobody wants to gamble anymore. And the people on the other hand are saying, well, you know, everything runs in cycles. And the cycle right now happens to be down a little bit, partly because there are so many casinos that are all over the country, but we don't have any in Massachusetts, so we should allow that to happen. So there's two arguments on either side.
Indeed. So again, on the casinos, the law is in place, and this is one that if you vote yes, you're voting to repeal the casino law. Bye-bye casinos. If you vote no, nothing changes.
Nothing changes.
And then the final question, question 4,
Deals.
is...
Go ahead.
Oh, you go ahead.
Deals with earned sick time for employees in the state of Massachusetts, generally are part-time people who don't have earned sick time.
That's right.
We are employees of the town of Barnstable, and as part of our agreement with the town, we say we'll come into work every day and you pay us a salary. In addition to that, you earn sick time, so that if you are indeed ill, you are out, and you're out for 2 days, 3 days, whatever, and you get paid for it anyway if you're legitimately ill. This covers those people who are part-time employees who don't have coverage for sick time, and if this is voted, it will allow for sick time for citizens who work in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts who currently don't have that.
Right, and it's not just part-time employees either. There are some people holding down, full 40-hour-a-week jobs that don't have the sick time benefit. And, the supporters say, well, when these workers don't have sick days, they either end up coming to work sick or they are forced to stay home without pay. and that just compounds many other issues. Of course, people against it say this could be an unfair burden to the smaller businesses. So obviously plus and minuses on either side. But again, the vote yes on this is yes, I am in favor of mandating this earned sick time for workers. No, I'm not in favor, and nothing changes.
Right.
Exactly. So I think that was that's all the questions that are on the ballot.
There's another question. It's question 5,
non-binding
non-binding.
question.
Should we get rid of the nuclear power station in Plymouth?
Yes, and again, non-binding questions are obviously. I think I had a student at the college yesterday, saying, "Oh, we're going to be voting against this," and it's like, well, you got to hold on a second, read the language in this. You're voting on whether you want to support this or organize yourselves to support to the people that make the decisions. So you're not actually making the decision, but you're saying, I like this.
And there are people, I was going to say your college kids, some high school kids, and there are others, of course, who don't understand that non-binding and what that means. And it means that this is just a popularity poll. So you vote yes or you vote no, and people look at it and say, oh, people don't like it, people like it, whatever.
It's kind of like a survey.
It's a survey, exactly.
That's right.
Yeah.
And again, everyone in Massachusetts should have gotten that little red voter information pamphlet. You definitely want to look at that before you head to the polls. As our town clerk Ann Quirk said, it can get, you don't want to go in and be reading these ballot questions in the ballot box for the first time. A little complex, and you want to put some thought into that. But don't let that deter you from heading to the polls today.
It's also a very handy thing to take a little 3x5 card on your own and say, excuse me, and to say, number one, I'm going to vote for this candidate, or and you write them all down. And then, because the ballot questions are intricate somewhat, you would write down on your card, number one, I'm voting yes, number two, I'm voting no, number three, I'm voting whatever. So that you walk into the polling place, and there may be a line of people behind you, so you take your little card and you go, yeah, no, yes, no, yes, so what do you want to do?
No,
So
yes,
that's
no,
a very handy thing.
Whatever it is that you want to do. That's a great tip. Well, then, I thank you, and I wish everyone good luck today. Out at the polls, and we're going to talk to Dan Santos a little bit about the good work the DPW did this weekend cleaning up all those trees and stuff that fell down. I'm going to see if they can come to my house. I don't think that's
just one final thing. We will have all the results here on Channel 18 tomorrow morning.
We will
the two of us will be here.
That's right.
We'll have all of the information
Break
that
it
our
down.
viewers need to know. We'll try to break it down.
We will try to break it down. But for now, we'll head out.